Hey, it's Lefty. So last week we went 2-0 in UFC. Um, Really, that championship fight was a good fight. Um, I thought that Volkanovski could have gotten a decision, but if you laid minus 375 with Makhachev, you were sweating out that last round, and he really couldn't control Volkanovski the way that he's controlled everybody else. Um, I think I said on Facebook that Volkanovski doesn't really have the size disadvantage that people think he does. He was up around 200, 215 when he played rugby, and Makhachev definitely is cutting from 200. And now there's rumors circulating that he used an IV to rehydrate himself, which is against the rules, unless you're Floyd Mayweather going against Manny Pacquiao, then you get an exception from USADA. So, um, that aside, we went, I think it was a 2-0 in boxing. Um, that worked out well. Uh, we just pick winners here. So we're 4-0 in boxing, 2-0 in UFC. I don't know if I'm doing UFC tomorrow or for tomorrow. I just, it's not that great of an event. If you made me twist my arm, I'd probably go. I forgot her name. She accepted the fight on like a week's notice or something. She's a really good fighter, and that's where I would go because you're gonna get minus 115 for her, and usually in her fight she's like -3, -400, unless she's fighting the absolute best. So that's where I would lean, but that's not going to be an official pick for me on this channel. So let's get into our Shobox picks, all right? We're going to try to keep this video short and sweet. We got Kurt Scobie against John Manu. John Manu is listed at 5'9", but so is Kurt Scobie. Either Kurt Scobie's 5'7" or 5'8", or Manu's 5'10", 5'11". He just looks 2 inches taller to me, but we'll see. We'll see in the fight. Manu is a tall, lanky southpaw, and I haven't seen Scobie in with southpaws yet. However, he's training at a Gleason's gym in New York. It's a famous gym, and he sparred with Devin Haney going into the Kambosos fight. John Manu actually sparred with Kambosos going into the Haney fight. So we basically got a battle of Devin Haney and Kambosos sparring partners, which is interesting. Manu's a southpaw. He's a tall, lanky guy. He's going to try to... Seems like he's going to box if he can't. Well, he's going to box if he has to. I think he likes to press the action. I don't know how much he's going to be... I don't know how much he wants to do that in this instance. I think that there's going to be a price to pay if he wants to fight that fight against this guy. Kurt Scobie's a former football player, took up boxing late, and he won the California Golden Gloves for the novice division. So he's got a little bit of an amateur background, but not too much because of his football background. Kurt Scobie, if he's at Gleason's gym, he's got to know how to fight a southpaw. I sound like a broken record. It's about the foot battle and being able to stay in him. All right, if you can win that foot position battle and the battle of the front sides on a southpaw, you're going to be able to win the fight. If Manu cannot pivot, and if he gets pushed back, he's going to be against the ropes. He's going to find himself against the ropes. And against Kurt Scobie with his physical strength and his punching power, I think that's going to be the recipe for success. If Manu's able to win the front side battle and push Scobie back, I don't know if Scobie has developed the boxing ability to be able to fight going backwards. So, however, Scobie looks like the stronger guy. Manu has been an underdog before and has beat those odds before. He's a slight dog here at plus 125. Scobie's minus 160. I'm going to side with Scobie on this one. These Shobox fights and these prospect fights are really hard. You know, they're harder. They're actually harder to predict than some of the main fights, you know, the Showtime Championship Boxing and the ESPN main events, because there's less tape out there for these kids. However, we're going to lean that way. We're going to put our record on the line and go with Scobie. He just looks like the stronger guy. I like who he's sparring against, and I like his gym. So that's where I'm going. Minus 160. Co-main event for Shobox tonight is Misael Lopez against Ed Vasquez. Ed Vasquez is minus 210 against Misael Lopez, who's plus 160. And actually, Misael Lopez is the biggest underdog tonight. The reason why Ed Vasquez is minus 210 is because he went 10 rounds with, I want to say his name is Raymond Ford. Ford was gifted that decision. No doubt about it. Now, Ed Vasquez did kind of fade in the last couple rounds, but I thought he won at least 6 of the 10 rounds. He had Ford going backward. He had him frustrated. Ford was constantly on the ropes all night. Up until then, he was being fast-tracked by DAZN, you know, possibly the main event in short order. However, Ed Vasquez exposed Raymond Ford to an extent and basically told us that he had more to work on. So that is why Ed Vasquez is minus 210. He had an 82-8 amateur career. He's the more distinguished amateur of the two. However, this is the pro game. Once again, Ed Vasquez and Misael Lopez are listed at just about the same height. Either Ed Vasquez fights smaller and he gets in his legs a little bit more than Misael Lopez, or they're just listed wrong. Misael Lopez has been knocked out before. That was like in his first handful of fights, I think. It was a while ago. And he's never been 10. Ed Vasquez has been 10 at least once, and that was in the Ford fight. But he's been 8 3 times, and he's been on Shobox before, twice. Now, when I first looked at this fight and looked at the resumes on BoxRec, I wanted to go Ed Vasquez. And when I seen the fight against Raymond Ford, I actually seen it live. Or, you know, when, you know, televised or whatever. I wasn't there. But I thought Ed Vasquez did a good job backing up Raymond Ford. I thought he did a good job bullying him and outboxing him. However, styles make fights. And the more that I see Misael Lopez fight, the more I liked what I saw. Now, he did fight on ESPN before. He has been on Shobox twice already. I want to say he was the dog against Orlando Gonzalez. Orlando Gonzalez had just got done fighting Robesi Ramirez before that fight. Misael Lopez outboxed him and outbrawled him, won the last 3 rounds to win the decision. He is an active, well, up until this point, he's been an active fighter as far as throwing 60, 70 punches around or whatever. He's going to need that to win today. Now, what I see is Ed Vasquez is a crafty guy. I expect him to back up or to move along the perimeter of the ring early, see what Lopez is bringing, and then jump in with counters. That's where I see this. Is that going to get the job done? I don't think so. Ed Vasquez has 3 knockouts in his career, so he's not that big a puncher. He's a sharp puncher. You know, he's a good, you know, you could probably feel his shot. No doubt. Ask Raymond Ford. However, He's got to land a lot of those, and I haven't seen him active enough in the ring as far as punches thrown for him to discourage Misael Lopez from throwing shots. What I see happening in this fight is Misael Lopez takes a round or two to see what's going on, and then he steps on the gas. Misael Lopez, in a majority of his fights, unless he's fighting a southpaw, has tried to take the center of the ring and outdog his opponent and be active. I see that happening here, and I see Misael Lopez as the plus 160 dog taking this fight. The reason why I like Misael Lopez, I think he's closer to 5'8", and I don't think Ed Vasquez is 5'7", or at least he doesn't fight like it, once again. However, Ed Vasquez had a split decision earlier in his career against a taller guy that fought much the same way as Misael Lopez, and Ed Vasquez did not throw enough punches. So I like the dog here, and the guy that's been on TV before a lot more than Ed Vasquez. The only negative I see in this fight is that he hasn't been 10 rounds. So rounds 9 and 10, he doesn't know yet. Now, undoubtedly, he's sparring 10 rounds at least. He's probably sparring 12. I think that he pulls out the decision. He's going to be more active once again. He's going to be on the stick. He's going to be on the jab. He pivots. For the most part, he's defensively responsible. He keeps his hands in a decent position most of the time, a lot of the time. As long as he doesn't clown, I think he's good. He has a tendency to clown in fights, but he does close the show pretty well. How he closes the show in rounds 9 and 10 could decide this fight, but I'm rolling with him. Adriel Holmes and Ismael Villarreal. Villarreal is 5'8". Adriel Holmes is 6'2" and 3/4. They're fighting at the 154-pound division. Holmes is tall, man. That's a tall dude. As a southpaw, he's got every advantage in this fight except the power. I've got a lot of notes here, but I'm going to condense it. I think the only negative and the biggest negative for Holmes in this fight is his inactivity. This is his second fight in 3.5 years. That's a problem, at least for me. Now, he was off 2.5 years in his last fight that was fought a year ago, and he came in sharp, and he was fighting a smaller guy. Now, that guy is smaller than what Villarreal is. Let's get that straight. However, he was fighting a smaller guy. He was able to outfight him on the inside at times. So he's one of those guys that on the inside, he's one of those tall guys that can fight on the inside, kind of like a poor man's Paul Williams, right? Long arms, tall guy, could still fight on the outside. He could fight on the outside, he could fight on the inside. There's another negative in this fight for Holmes, and that's Villarreal's power, okay? Villarreal looks like a middleweight or a 168-pounder up top, above the waist. All right, his back, his shoulders, they're huge for the weight class. And he's been knocking guys out. Now, as of 2 days ago, the line was minus 115 for Villarreal and minus 110 for Holmes. Holmes is now the favorite. That line has moved. However, I'm still taking Holmes here. I am taking Holmes. I want to say he's minus 115, minus 120 now, depending on where you look. I like fighters that have options, okay? Holmes would not be advised to fight inside because that's fighting Villarreal's fight. Villarreal wants to dog him. He wants to let off his punches. He's got to, once again, southpaw against the orthodox fighter. He's got to win that front foot, the front side battle, the foot position battle. He's got to be able to pivot out, and he's got to get Villarreal's respect early. Has to. He's got to make Villarreal think twice before throwing a shot. Now, Villarreal, from what I've seen, thinks twice anyway before throwing a shot. He tries to wait for the perfect position. He tries to draw out his opponent at times and counter. And in my opinion, he's not active enough in there. When I've seen him, he's a patient fighter, but maybe he's too patient. Against a guy that's 6'2", 6'3", and you're 5'8", you've got to just get off. You've got to get off. You've got to push him back. And another thing that I want to point out is on regular pay-per-views or ESPN, bigger fights, the ring size is like 20, 22 feet. For Shobox, I've got a sneaky feeling, and don't quote me on this, but I've got a sneaky feeling these Shobox rings are 18 foot. So they're small rings. The reason why that's important is you got less space in there. So if you're Holmes and you back up, you shuffle 2 times going backward, your back is against the ropes when you start at the middle of the ring. The only way to not put yourself on the ropes is to win the foot possession, the foot positioning, and turn them, right? You got to pivot, or else you're going to be up against the ropes, leaning back, and Villarreal is going to get off. I think Holmes is going to do that. I think the inactivity might show itself for the first couple rounds. However, Holmes has the boxing ability and the versatility and some punching power, maybe enough punching power to keep Villarreal off him. So those are my picks for tonight. How I would play this? I would put, let's say, 5 to 7 units on Holmes by itself, not a parlay. And I would basically take each fight and play it by itself. So maybe I don't know, you know what? Scratch that. Maybe go, you know what? You take Holmes straight up. I would lay the juice on Scobie. We're going to pay that price. That's fine. And then Lopez, he's going to be the underdog. Let him go by himself. I'm probably going to take maybe 2 units and do a parlay for all my picks. And, I'm just going to sprinkle there. But I would take each fight individually. Every fight is closely contested on paper. All these guys could fight. All right. As for the battle in the UK tomorrow, all right, Leywood and Mauricio Lara. Mauricio Lara, going real quick. Now, Leywood had a great decision, all right, or he had a great fight against Michael Conlan. He had a great fight, no doubt. However, I think I think Conlan just, I don't want to discredit that win, but he was there to be hit all night. Leywood is 34 years old. They're going to be 34 soon. He gets hit a lot. He can be hurt. He's got great heart. However, Laura's a strong puncher, and it's really hard to hurt him. And I like his hand placement. Now, he's there to be hit also. He's looking to stand in front of you and make you trade. However, he does cover up, and he is somewhat defensively responsible. And I like his punching power against Wood. That's why he's a minus 275 favorite. And I also like Luis Neri tomorrow, depending on how he makes weight. I've got to see his pictures on how he made weight if he makes it. He's notorious for not making weight or struggling with his weight. So I'll withhold on that pick depending on what happens at the weigh-in, which hasn't happened yet, I don't think. So those are my picks. Let's see what happens. Okay? Sound off on the comments. Let me know what y'all think. This is Lefty. Lefty's out.